everyone. I am really excited today to be speaking with Amy because Amy works at a profession that I loved working at for over 20 years. And so I am extremely excited to introduce all of you to Amy, the doula. Amy, welcome. Please tell us all, especially for those who don't know what it is, about your professional role.
Thanks so much for having me. So yeah, I'm a full spectrum doula. I focus really on the support role around a person and a family's perinatal time. So as a full spectrum doula, I focus on everything from fertility and conception right through to um, end of pregnancy and or a baby and postpartum, whatever route a person wants to take. I am happy to help support them through that with education and physical support and of course emotional support at every stage, no matter what they're going through. And I really am focused on inclusive work. So I work a lot with folks who are disabled or neurodivergent, the 2S LGBTQIA community, surrogacy, pregnancies, and families, and whatever other complicated situation comes up, or perfectly normal standard situation. I'm happy to help it all.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. How does the work that how does your work specifically help those in the 2S LGBTQIA plus community start or grow their respective families?
Yeah, I think it's really important that people just have support through whatever it is that they're going through in growing their family. Of course, like our community has the added stress of being in a really heteronormative buildup and makeup and medical system, and having someone who can help guide you through that, maybe give you a little more information on things before you go through them, make sure that you are really aware of all your options in a situation, that you have someone that you feel is there to advocate for you along the way. I think that's important to everyone, but I think certainly this community, our community, is seeing a lot of harm, and if there are ways to reduce harm or stress or anxiety, then a doula can really help through that.
Excellent. Are there things that you might look for working in the capacity that you do that your heterosexual cisgendered peers who work in a similar capacity may not necessarily look for?
Yeah, I really make sure right from my first interaction, no matter who I'm working with, that I'm using inclusive language. That's something I'm certainly not seeing, especially in the birth world. And amongst doulas, it's something I'm trying to help shift a little bit. Just using really inclusive language, making sure we're not just talking about husband-wife relationships right from the beginning. And then through the system, just advocating for clients in a different way, asking if they want their pronouns on their birth plan, asking if they would like someone to advocate for special sensory needs. I think it's just so important to have someone who's aware of some of the special circumstances that our community goes through.
Sure. 100%, 100%. Are there any pearls of wisdom that you've gleaned over the years of doing the work you're doing that make you especially perfect to work in the capacity you do, especially with the 2S LGBTQIA plus community?
Yeah, for sure. Almost every family and individual I work with at some point in our support journey will ask me what I would do in that situation. I'm sure you got asked that question a lot too as a doula. And honestly, my answer every time is it doesn't matter what I would do. And that's the information I would pass on to anyone. It just doesn't matter what someone else would do in your situation. Your situation is so nuanced, and no one has to live your life, and no one has to live with the consequences of your decision. And you really need to look at a doctor or a midwife or whoever your care provider is or whoever you're dealing with in the medical system is just someone who's coming to you with their best professional medical advice, and
Mhm.
then to make whatever decision you feel is best and most comfortable for you, because nobody is going through what you're going through.
100%. That is so true. And I think that it may be worth mentioning because again, I worked in the industry for a long time, and you've been working in this industry too, and it's not uncommon for those who don't know much about doulas to understand or hear from other people to say that doulas don't encourage their clients to listen to their care providers, where I think the opposite is in fact true. A doula
Absolutely.
100% will encourage you to listen to your care provider. If something your care provider says doesn't resonate with you, or you don't understand what they mean, and they haven't the time, because sometimes they're really busy, to explain it in better detail to you so you can understand, then that's one of the best places I think that a doula shines is having that wealth of information at your fingertips so that you can answer the questions and sort of make their experience more feel like their own. Like you say, it's their journey. It doesn't matter what anyone
Absolutely.
else would do, right?
Absolutely.
And it makes it fun, and we get to keep learning and growing as we go along too, even
I
if we're
still
finished
learn
having
at every birth I
right.
attend. I still learn with every family I sit down with. I mean, I think my families teach me as I educate with them. And
Mhm,
I know I've grown a lot as a person and an individual, as a parent, just
mhm.
watching other parents become new parents. And it's a really cool thing I get to do.
It totally is. It totally is. Your experience in life as part of the 2S LGBTQIA plus community finds you working in a very sensitive area.
Mhm.
Have you yourself had experiences of being othered that you can draw upon to help ensure the safety and comfort for your own clients?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I am also a disabled human. I uh, don't look disabled, so I have a handful of invisible disabilities. I have Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, arthritis, a couple other things. And I think just having so many nuances in my own life, and certainly through my own pregnancies and my own birth and postpartum experiences, I really had to learn how to advocate for myself. I
Mhm,
mean, when you have complex medical health, you have to start doing that pretty quickly.
mhm,
Um, and I think that gives me a unique place also as a doula in this birth space, because I have so much experience in hospitals. I
mhm.
think having a disability, it's, doctors can have so much medical education, but until you've really lived this
Mhm.
life, it's really hard to be able to give advice that you can know is like a full spectrum advice. So that's really what I focus on, is just helping people make full life decisions instead of just decisions based off of the immediate thing that's placed in front of them. And I think my experience of being othered because of my disability through the systems that are set up for people with disabilities in Ontario is yeah is it's a kind of a never ending thing once you're disabled.
Sure,
Ah.
absolutely, absolutely. But you raise a good point that, I mean, and it's been a focus of this show. The reason I'm speaking with professionals who identify as being part of the community is because you have an appreciation of what it's like to be a part of the community, and then to work with individuals wanting to start families. It's just a different perspective that you take into consideration that someone else may not. And the same can be said for visible and invisible disabilities, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also really important when we're talking now about visible and invisible sexualities and genders. And
100%.
I think that's why it's so important to be using inclusive language in these traditionally cisgendered spaces. It's really important that we're starting to see changes in hospital documents and um, government registration forms, and all the really important things. It's so connected.
Absolutely. 100% it is. I recognize that there's some bias associated with me asking you this question because you've agreed to participate in this show. And so you must see some merit in the idea of there being a show like this. But if there was a show like this available at the time that you were growing your family, do you think that this show would have been beneficial? And if so, what kinds of professionals and individuals would you hope would be included in a show like this?
Yeah, I think that this is awesome that you're putting this show together. I'm so glad to be able to be a part of it. I would have loved just feeling like I wasn't, the only person that was going through what I was going through in my community. I did not have a community of queer people when I was going through my pregnancies and starting my family.
Mhm.
And just knowing that there were other families and couples out there would have been really nice. I love that you are reaching out to professionals like lawyers and fertility specialists. I think that that's really something that's not focused on in cisgendered heteronormative baby shows.
No,
I think that they are important even in those
sure.
ways. They should be a focus, but they just don't need to be in the same capacity or for as many people. So that is what I would have recommended, and we already have that covered.
Yay. I'm working on it. I'm trying to tick every box. Is there anything about you that we have not yet covered that people just absolutely need to know?
Oh, I don't know. That feels like a, I don't know.
That's like a very big question, doesn't
It is
it?
a big question. I'm just me. I don't know. I just want people to know that like it's okay to um change as they grow and to um learn from themselves, but from other people, and that it's okay to just jump into things and learn as you experience them. And that's really how I've had to start my career in this journey as a doula a little bit. It's an interesting type of career and journey to start. So I would say that would be my advice and some things that I live by more of who I am.
All right, we've got that sorted. Amy, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
What is the best way for potential clients to contact you?
Honestly, just right through my website is great. It's Amy Perry, Perry, doula at amyperrydoula.ca. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook just by searching Amy Perry Doula. You can email me, amyperrydoula@gmail.com,
Perfect.
and I would be happy to just answer any questions anybody has. And I am currently booking into 2023.
Yikes, it feels so soon and yet so
I
far.
know. This year has just flown by, hasn't it?
It has indeed. I want to thank you so very much for taking the time to chat with me today. And I am just so excited that I have a doula as part of the conversation this weekend.
Oh, thank you so much for including me.